Aloha. Welcome everyone to the Healthcare Insider. I am Tish Lopez, your moderator this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Monday. Before we get started, we want to let you know that today's Zoom meeting is being recorded so that you and others may access it in the future. All of our presentations are available on our YouTube channel by simply searching Hawaii Care Choices. For those joining us on Zoom webinar, the bottom of your screen should look like this. Please click on the chat box and say aloha to everyone here and let us know where you are joining from. Healthcare Insider is now an interactive presentation. We'll be asking you questions throughout the presentation, so please use the raise your hand button to send us feedback. Lastly, click on the Q&A box at any time to submit your questions to our panelists. To those of you watching us on Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining and aloha. Please use the comment box to say aloha as well and let us know where you're joining in from. Feel free to chat in questions as well as share your reactions with us during this Talk Story Insider using your reaction buttons. We love seeing those hearts, thumbs up, and even the care button. Again, Healthcare Insider is an interactive presentation, and you will also be able to ask questions or send your reactions. Just please enter them in the comment box below. We are also doing polls today. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, you will not see the polls pop up, but we want to still hear from you. Again, use that comment box below. Everyone is welcome to join in the fully engaged Zoom presentation next month. Just email me at lopez@hawaiicarechoices.org and I'll send you the link. Now, polling is very simple. A question will pop up on your screen, similar to what you see now. Please make the selection you think is best and submit your polls at the bottom here. Just to kick things off and get you comfortable, we are going to try an icebreaker. So up on your screen, ask the question, if you could be one of these mythical animals, which one would you be? A dragon, a unicorn, a mermaid, or a sphinx? Again, those of you on Facebook, if you could be a mythical animal, which would you be? A dragon, a unicorn, a mermaid, or a sphinx? Go ahead, enter your answer in and click the submit button below. All right, perfect. I am going to end the polling right there and share our results. So 26% said they would like to be dragons. Another 26 said unicorns, 42% said mermaids, and 5% said sphinx. Thank you so much for participating in our icebreaker. And it is that easy. I know this was such a smart crowd. Great job. I also see some coming in through Facebook, so thank you so much. Now, I would like to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Lonnie Weigert, Community Relations Manager for Hawaii Care Choices, and our wonderful presenter on all our presentations. If anyone on Facebook and Zoom has ever heard Lonnie talk before, please send her a comment or chat hello and give her some hearts. She loves those. Aloha, Lonnie.
Aloha, aloha, everyone. Welcome this morning.
We also have Lieutenant William Derr, Community Police Officer with Hawaii County Police Department. Aloha and welcome, Lieutenant Derr.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you both for taking your time out to be with us this morning. Lieutenant Derr will be sharing his expertise and experiences later on in this presentation. Again, thank you to all who have joined on Zoom and Facebook. Without further ado, I'm going to hand the virtual microphone over to Lonnie.
Thank you so much, Tish. Welcome, everyone. I see you folks coming in on the chat. Way to go. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you again. So, with our video boxes open, it's kind of covering your screen. So I'm just letting you know that we're going to be turning off our video boxes for now. You'll hear me, but we won't be blocking your screen anymore. And that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, great. Just like magic. Bling, all gone. Okay, welcome to the Healthcare Insider. And so what this presentation is really about is to just really unpack this information on palliative and hospice care. So people will ask me, what is the difference between the two of them? So palliative care, the big difference on that one is it's relief focused and you can continue to have treatments. Hospice care, it's comfort focused and you're no longer doing any type of treatment. So for example, on palliative care, it's really about trying to attack the the disease, whatever it is. So if it's cancer, we're doing chemotherapy, we're doing radiation, whatever it may be. Oftentimes those treatments will create these really uncomfortable symptoms, and that's where palliative care comes in. Now on hospice care, we're no longer doing that, because by the time we come to hospice, we're really looking for comfort and quality of life. And so what ends up happening is that we're now focused on spending time with our family, really enjoying the grandkids, all of those things. We're not looking at this huge schedule of going to the doctor and, we got to do this, we got to do that. Nope, we're not doing any of that anymore. It's absolutely just time to be with family and be comfortable. How is palliative and hospice care the same? Okay, so there are definite similarities, which is why people get totally thrown off about these two. Like, is it the same? Or people will tell me, oh no, I don't want palliative care. I'm not ready to die. It's like, okay, we are not getting the 411 on this information. So let me just explain to you. So the similarities are both relieve suffering, both can be delivered at home, and both improves the quality of life. And not only for the patient, but definitely for the family, which is why these presentations to educate you and your loved ones is so important, because the earlier you sign up for any of these programs, the better it's going to be for your families. And it's because the families need support too. It's whenever I see a doctor who is seeing his patient and he's looking at the patient and the patient says, no, I don't need to sign up for any kind of program. But if you look at his caregiver, which is normally his spouse, the caregiver is starting to look quite frail and losing weight and all this other stuff. That's the main indication we need help at home. Okay, so anyway, it improves the quality of life for both the patient and their families. So sign up early, and both create a plan of care.
Friends, raise your hand if you think palliative and hospice care improves the quality of life for patients and their families.
Awesome. Thank you, folks. Way to be paying attention. Okay, so how are these different? And they are different. So palliative care, it serves those with serious illness, just like hospice, and it's from any age. These people who have palliative care could live for years. I mean, they're still going Vegas, they're going to the grandson's football game, they're still going down to the cookout at the beach, all of that. These people are seeking curative treatments. So they're doing dialysis, they're doing radiation, they're doing chemotherapy, they're still having treatments. For hospice, as the disease naturally progresses, hospice care comes into play. And normally it's because the doctor has made his or her best guesstimate of a 6-month life expectancy. Now understand, this 6-month thing is really arbitrarily chosen by Medicare. I mean, it could have been 10 months, it could have been 2 months. Really, people will ask me all the time, so Lonnie, what if I live longer than 6 months? I mean, hallelujah. Yes, we can continue to provide services no matter how long people live. I think for hospice, the longest that somebody was on hospice care was 7 years. And the reason that was is they got better, and then they would graduate, then they would come back, and then they would graduate again. I mean, it just went on and on. But this is why I'm saying that these two are different, but they provide the right type of care at the right time. That is key, my friends. That is key. The right type of care at the right time.
Friends, give me a yes in the chat box if you know someone that could benefit from hospice or palliative care. And with that, we have a brain teaser. Up on your screen, you should see the question now. How is palliative care and hospice care the same? Both relieve suffering, both can be delivered in patients' home, both improves the quality of life for patients and their families, both creates a plan of care, or all of the above. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, you will not see the polls pop up, but we still want to hear from you. Feel free to put your answers right there in the comment box. Everyone is welcome to join in the fully engaged Zoom presentation next month. Just email me at llopez@hawaiicarechoices.org and I will send you the link. All right, looks like we are finished. I'm going to end the polling there and share the results. So 100% of you said all of the above. Palliative care and hospice care are the same, all of the above. Thank you so much for joining in our polls. I also want to just reiterate, if anyone has any questions during this presentation, please put that in the Q&A box below. Back to you, Lani.
Oh my gosh, you guys just make my heart flutter. You folks are paying such good attention. Yes, that was the correct answer. All of the above. You guys are just learning as we go. So the signs that palliative care is needed. This is really important because for the most part, when you're home with your loved one, it's not like we have medical degrees, like we don't know if somebody needs additional help. However, there's certain things that we can see. So first of all, say my mom, if my mom needed to go to the emergency room, a couple of times during the month, or we're calling the doctor at 2 a.m. in the morning because mom can't breathe or something like that. I mean, yes, I think it's time that we get onto a program so mom can get the care that she needs. Or let's just say now mom has, more than 50 jars of medication and she's now confused. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, which one are you taking, mom? And on, and we're both confused. Maybe we need palliative care. Also, whenever you notice that your loved one is having difficulty with these activities of daily living. Now, this is the thing, is you have to handle this really carefully because people are fiercely independent and we want to always give them that for as long as we possibly can. But if we notice that, they're buying all kinds of things online that they don't need, or they forgot that they even got that, or they go to the grocery store, then they come back with nothing because they forgot why they were there. And just it's so difficult for them to even make a sandwich. It's time for some additional support at home. And so that's where you would say, Mom, you know what? I think it would be super awesome for us to get this program. They're not going to be obtrusive. It's really going to help us both. And, they're just going to kind of be a friend that hangs out with you every time when they come, and they just check in to make sure you're okay. My mom was totally not about it. So as we continued on and her cancer progressed, I was able to really sell her the idea, and I'll tell you about that as we continue on. But things that you'll notice physically about them as well is that they're always complaining about pain. Oh, I had pain over here. It's really sore. I don't know what that's from. Always tired. You start to notice the swelling in the feet and even discolor on the legs. That's definitely one. And they're not that hungry, like, because they're nauseated. These are definite signs that our loved one, or maybe even ourselves, may need palliative care. So you would just call us.
Friends, raise your hand if you know anyone who is visiting or calling their doctor frequently.
So when should palliative care begin? When I talk to Dr. Dolan, who is our medical director, she will say at the time of diagnosis. And a lot of people won't call us at that time because, either they're not really having any symptoms, or no, I don't want anybody coming to my house, or, I don't know their family. I don't want them coming over here. These people, they're nosy, whatever. It's so local of us to think like that. But that's really, it's not about that. It's about getting the patient used to the idea of somebody coming in to check in on them. And it's, and so sometimes it just takes a little while to get to know someone. And for local people, that is really important. Where maybe in the mainland, at time of diagnosis, people are just calling right away and people are coming over. Local people, we kind of got to ease in, and so when we call people up and we tell them, all right, I think my mom might need this, then, we start real gentle, and that's so important. And then by the time, symptoms start to show up, we're already on the track with your loved one. We're already educating everybody in the house. We're already taking care so that quality of life can immediately be boosted for your loved one. And so, yeah, don't wait. Call us at time of diagnosis, even though there's nothing going on. And the earlier everybody signs up, the more support, again, for the family. Okay, so, a lot of times we'll get patients that say, oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. But meanwhile, they're not thinking about, but my daughter who's taking care of me, or my husband who's taking care of me, maybe they could use the support. We find that oftentimes when people come into the doctor to check up, now our doctors will actually say, hey, I noticed that, your wife is looking really frail. Maybe you could use some support at home. Normally the patient is not about, I don't need any help. I'm doing good, but as soon as you bring up the caregiver, then they're like, oh, yeah, she's kind of moving slower now. Yeah, maybe, because for whatever reason, somebody doesn't want to sign up for services, they definitely will sign up for their loved one. So anyway, caregivers, this is your move now. Okay, sign up early so you can get help.
All right, friends, in the comment box, please type true or false if you think by signing up early for those with serious illnesses could live longer. True or false?
Oh, I just love it. You guys just put it there in the chat. Put it in there. I just love it. You guys are so on it. So anyway, when we go to a person's house, because we'll go there, somebody signs up for palliative care, we'll come to the house and we'll talk story. And, we just really want to create a plan of care that's customized to the patient and the family. So we often will ask, and you think to yourself, obviously they know about their illness. Well, we find that 95% of the time we go to the house, no one's actually really explained it to them. It's like, oh yeah, I know I have cancer. However, no one has said anything else about it. Like, what they can expect in the near future, in the long term, all of these other things, what kind of symptoms they may have, all of that. We will take the time to explain to them. And we will also want to know who within their family would they like to include on the medical decisions. That's really critical. It cannot be, somebody that lives on the mainland and then just comes home after, the sister has taken care of the mom for 7 years, but the brother decides, okay, he's going to come home and check on mom. And now all of a sudden he's making all the decisions. If that's not what mom wants, then that's not what's going to happen when we go into the home. So just understand that patient-centered, it's all about it. We're really going to focus on, okay, mama, you tell us what you want, and we'll make sure that happens. And then, there's other things that are important to the family, like, they'll say, oh yeah, every Wednesday night we get Bible study, okay, so maybe we're not going to come on Wednesday evening because this is going on. We know that, we put it in the plan of care. So we'll come on Tuesday to make sure mom is going to be up for Bible study or whatever the situation is. We want to be part of the family's plan.
Friends, is it important for you to understand about you or your family's illness? Please type yes or no in the chat box or in the comment box on Facebook.
Awesome. So look at this couple over here. They're balancing all of these jars. Okay, so this is no joke. I mean, obviously local people don't take the time to create a puzzle with it, but I'm just letting you know, we have gone to homes where the coffee table is completely covered with medication. Okay, it's noteworthy that, half of the medication is expired, but they don't throw it away. Some of it belongs to the deceased ex-husband, but they don't throw that away either. Some of it belongs to their adult children that no longer live in the home. And then there's maybe 30 jars that belong to them. Now, why this is such a balancing act is because each person has a multitude of doctors. So say they have their primary care doctor and they're dealing with COPD, and so they get medication. Now, all of a sudden, one evening, they cannot breathe, boom, straight to the ER, and now they get medication over there. Well, they're also going to their cardiologist or pulmonologist or whatever ologist they're going to, and they're getting medication there. And then, one evening, it's like, they're on the way to grocery store, cannot breathe, boom, they go to urgent care, more medication there. So do you see, like, sadly, right now, our healthcare system doesn't have a way to track everybody's medication. So you could, in fact, have 30, 35 jars of different medication. And what we have found is that because people are trying to take all 30 or 35 meds throughout the day, they have other symptoms. So once we come into the home, we go ahead and we review all the medication. We go to their primary care physician and say, okay, this is the list of medication we got. Which ones do you want them to take? And then he or she will tell us, okay, they're only supposed to be taking this. All right, so maybe instead of 35 meds, they're now taking 18. I know it's still a lot, but I tell you, it's a lot less than what they were taking, which was actually elevating some of their symptoms. And that was totally unnecessary. So we come in, we do medication review. That is huge. That is huge for anybody that has a loved one that is elderly, that their caregiver is elderly as well. Let us come in and support them.
Friends, if you think medication review is important, please raise your hand.
Yeah, awesome. Well, apparently quite a few of you have seen that this happens in people's homes, so including your own. So anyway, let us come in and help you. Now, other services with palliative care. So when we come in, we're looking to support the entire family. So we want to connect the family to community resources. It could be the food basket. It could be Boys and Girls Club because the grandchildren live in the house too. It could be that the patient actually could qualify for Medicare or MedQuest and they've never applied. So we'll go and we'll help them fill that out. Or it could be that the person has not yet done their Advance Healthcare Directive. And that, my friends, is so important. And we would go ahead and help the loved one with that as well.
Friends, do you think additional services increase the value of palliative care? Please type yes or no in the chat box or in the comment box on Facebook.
Okay, so people will always tell me, oh, you know what? I don't think I can I can afford, palliative or hospice care. So this is how it gets paid for. So on palliative care side, any kind of insurance, including Medicare, will pay for a portion of it. And all of these others here, HMSA supportive care is another type of palliative care. And it's almost like a hospice light, meaning you can still get treatments. However, we will give you a whole suite of services that you can benefit from. So for the most part, whenever our nurse practitioner or our licensed social worker comes to visit for palliative care, there could be a copay of anywhere from $20 to $40 if the person only has Medicare or one type of insurance. However, if they have Medicare and Medicaid or MedQuest, it is no charge at all. So again, if any of you have this double coverage, know that it's more than affordable to do this. And even if you have just one type of coverage as well, we certainly can come in and help you. And then there's other things about hospice care. For the most part, all insurances will allow hospice care at home to be covered 100%. So no matter what a person has, Medicare, Medicaid, HMSA, whatever it is, it will be covered 100% for hospice care at home. So my only thing is that if a person needs to go into a nursing home or possibly come into our transitional care facility, Pohai Malama, there will be a charge for room and board, and that normally is covered under Medicaid or MedQuest. However, if somebody does not have that, then they're able to private pay for the room as well. So when my mom told me that she didn't think that she could qualify for hospice care, when she found out that it was already paid for through Medicare, I mean, there was no stopping us from getting that. So good to know this is how it gets paid for.
Wonderful. Lonnie, we have two questions from our participants. The first one is if you have any contacts for Kaiser Palliative Care. I know it says except Kaiser. Can you just expound a little bit more on that?
So except Kaiser, meaning everybody but Kaiser, right? All right. So this is the challenging news about Kaiser. Is Kaiser said that they provide palliative care, so they will not allow us to cover under Kaiser insurance. However, we have been negotiating with them to allow us, at least on the Big Island, to go ahead and provide palliative care, because the reality of it is they do not provide palliative care on the Big Island. They provide it on Oahu. So there have been quite a few patients that have come to us and said, we have Kaiser, but my wife has cancer. I really need palliative care. We have been unable to help them at this time. So hopefully that's going to be changing. But I'm really glad that you brought that up, because we have definitely been dealing with that.
Wonderful. And the second question is if we know of any other ways to dispose of the medications, as you said before. And I just like to let everyone know, Lieutenant Derr has said in the lobby of the police cell block, there is a disposal bin for medications. It is secured and there are no questions asked. And Lonnie, is there any others that you know of that you can share with us?
Well, basically, if anybody is on hospice care, we will take care of all of the medications when we come to the home. So that is another one. Oh, but we see here that Helene has mentioned Long's Downtown Pharmacy also has a bin that people can put their medications in to dispose of it. Thank you so much, Helene.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for helping out in that chat box as well. Thank you. Back to you, Lonnie.
Okay. So why hospice care? So this is a thing, especially if you have signed up for palliative care for your loved one. Again, the key is getting the right care at the right time. What happens is we will often get referrals for people to go into palliative care when in fact they actually need hospice care. And it's because the natural progression of their illness actually calls for hospice care at this point. And that is the level of care that they need. I tell you, my friends, that there is nothing higher than hospice care. It is the Cadillac of services. And when somebody has hospice care, they are going to get the full suite of services that anyone could possibly receive at home. So for hospice care, we focus on the quality of life. It's really redefining hope. You know, it's not where I've given up hope. Now the hope is I'm spending more time with my loved ones. I'm being outside around my plants that I love. I'm with my dogs. I'm taking time to go down to the beach and look at the sunset and the ocean. I'm doing all of these things. It really redefines hope of the new day. And so when people tell me, oh, so if I sign up for hospice, that means I'm giving up hope. Oh, on the contrary, that is not true. It really shifts our mindset to what truly is important to us. And that's why with hospice care, it was created to ease terminal suffering. There are people who are suffering unnecessarily at the end of life, and largely because they either did not know about hospice care or they were reluctant to sign up. But again, it is not mandatory for someone to die on hospice care. We do have quite a few people that sign up for hospice care and graduate. So understand, hospice is really coming in to ease that terminal suffering, and it will serve to provide the highest level of care at home that anyone could ask for.
Friends, let us know in the chat or comment box if quality or quantity of life is what you want for your loved one.
So it definitely takes a village, my friends. It definitely takes a village. And so what happens is that we have an entire team that serves your loved one. And this is our team here. So people will often tell me, oh, well, I don't want to sign up and then
Oh, I'm sorry, Lottie. I think we're having a bit of technical difficulties. We are not able to hear you at the moment.
not only for you, but also to help with your family as well.
All right, I'm so sorry, everyone. We are having a bit of technical difficulties at the moment. If you could just please give us a few seconds, we'll be right back up shortly. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding.
So while they're getting that set up, I just want to reiterate to everyone that early sign up is really critical to helping out, again, not only the patient, but for the family to get the support that they need. And I just, again, can't reiterate it enough. Getting the right type of care at the right time will really make all the difference to both the family and patient. And that quality of life can finally be boosted for everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. We are back up again and running. So with that, raise your hand if you think early patient sign up ensures more support and quality of life for all. Okay, so with that, we are going to launch our brain teaser. Round 2, early patient sign up ensures more support and quality of life for all, true or false? Again, go ahead and put the answer that you think is most correct and press submit. Wonderful. Everybody's getting their answers in there. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll right there and share the results. Early patient sign up ensures more support and quality of life for all. 100% of you said that is true. Wonderful. Thank you for joining in on our brain teaser. Back to you, Lani.
Thank you, Tish. So when is it time for hospice care? So again, none of us need to have medical degrees. We just need to see physically that something else is going on. Again, if your loved one is going to the emergency room several times in the month, or we're calling the doctor at all times of the day, and then you notice that your loved one is losing weight, is becoming very frail, falling here and there, isn't very hungry or thirsty, wants to basically sleep all day, and it's, their core strength is very weak. So it's difficult for them to, stand up from a chair or even get out of bed. And you'll notice too that there's a thinning of the skin, there's more infections happening throughout the body. These are definite signs that the illness that they have is definitely progressing.
Now we would like to share a personal story from patient caregivers.
Every single person in Kupu Care was like an angel. They were right on, they helped me. And then when it got really bad, and so the doctor finally acquiesced. But the doctors, I think, take too long to plug people into the home health care they need. He got hospice finally, and he was with them almost 2 weeks, and then he passed away. But I could have used them way before. And people need to be informed, by the doctors about Kupu Care so they can get them plugged in to the help they need. Otherwise, they're going to be in the situation I was in, which was pretty intense for quite some time. Thank God for Kupu Care, and all the people in hospice were angels. They were wonderful, beautiful people, beautiful, so supportive.
Well, one of the reasons why we went to Kupu Care was that my husband had found out that his illness was probably going to be progressive and not curable, so he was a little anxious, and so was I. During that time, after he was diagnosed, his idea was spend as much time with the grandchildren so that they would be able to, I guess, remember. He had spent a lot of time with the community, and so he wanted to spend more time with family. And I think Kupu Care allowed him to do that. As far as quality of life goes, I think it was exactly what my husband Barry wanted.
That was really beautiful testimonies. I just really loved working with their loved ones, and the resounding common theme of what they had to say was they wish they had signed up earlier, because they certainly could have used the support. And I saw one of the comments from Momi who said, if you're not sure, just call and ask. And that's absolutely the truth. I mean, just give us a call and let us know so we can answer at least all of your questions and get you comfortable with the idea. Because again, when the time is right, the time is right. So why is an Advance Healthcare Directive important? First of all, a lot of people really don't know what this directive is, but it is the instructions or the direction that you would give to your trusted agent or someone in your family to be the voice of your wishes in the event that you're unable to speak for yourself. So say if I got into an accident yesterday and I was up at the hospital, my loved one who I designated as my agent would say, oh, my person would like this, that, no, she doesn't want to be hooked up to, artificial breathing machine or whatever the situation is. Because understand that in healthcare, they have a mission to keep you alive at any level and at all costs. And so if you do not have an Advance Healthcare Directive, that is what is automatically going to be the default. So I need to impress upon you that anybody that is on our programs will definitely have an Advanced Healthcare Directive done. And anyone that's 18 years or older should have one.
Do you have a healthcare directive, friends? Type yes or no in the comment box.
So for those of you who are not on one of our programs or have not signed up for one or don't expect to sign up for one right away, please know that we have wonderful friends in Community First that you can hold your phone right up to that QR code and it will connect you to register online for a free workshop that they will be giving. Their last one will be in November, so please be sure to sign up so you can get a healthcare directive done. And I tell you that this is probably the greatest gift that you could give your loved ones, because during the very chaotic, probably the worst possible time for any family member is when there is a crisis and now they have to try to figure out, oh, I wonder what she would want or what he would want. Take that burden off their shoulders and get an Advanced Healthcare Directive done.
Friends, I have posted the registration link and also the phone numbers for Amy Hamane or Rosemary Burnett in the chat. So feel free to go ahead and copy and paste that into your notes.
Thank you, Tish. They do such a wonderful job on Community First with that. So please contact them. So do I need a Polst? So this is a thing. A lot of people will get confused with the Advanced Healthcare Directive or a Polst. So the Polst stands for Physician's Order for Life-Sustaining Treatments. So most people will fill this out because the doctor has determined that they need one. And normally, this is someone that is elderly, that is frail, that has some kind of condition, whether it's cancer or whatever the condition may be, but their physician has decided that they actually need a Polst. And this is a physician's order, which is why when those with the ambulance come to your house, the EMS agents will actually follow it. So we always tell people, if you're going to have a Polst, please put it up on the fridge or someplace that's easily accessible that somebody can see so that they know. So I think a lot of people don't understand with regard to why they would need one. And I was saying that, somebody that is very sick or very frail, because when people have CPR, there has to be a lot of chest compressions. And if somebody is quite frail, the chest area, the ribs, etc., could actually break during that time that somebody is performing CPR. So it is an important thing to have if you think that is necessary.
All right, friends, do you think you need a Polst? Type yes or no in the chat. And with that, we will go ahead and launch the brain teaser. Where do I get my free Advanced Healthcare Directive completed or updated? Register online, by calling, or all of the above. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, you will not see the post pop up, but we still want to hear from you. Feel free to put your answers right there in the comment box. Everyone is welcome to join in the fully engaged Zoom presentation next month. Just email me, llopez@hawaiicarechoices.org, and I will send you the link. I'm going to go ahead and end the polling right there. Thank you so much, and share the results. So 100% of you said all of the above. That is absolutely correct. Thank you so much for joining in on our Braid Teasers. Back to you, Lonnie.
Thank you, Tish. So this is a photo of Pohai Malama Care Center. This center is not a long-term care facility. It's really for transitional care, meaning people that have hospice care at home maybe are dealing with symptoms that are unable to be controlled at home, so they'll come here. And when they come here, we will manage their symptoms, and once they're managed, they're able to go home. I'd say probably 95% of the people that come here, they are already actively dying, and so they end up passing here. And this place, if you have not seen it, it's like the Mauna Lani of hospice. It is absolutely amazing inside. And the way that it's set up is it has private lanai areas, so family, can come, and it's just been such a beautiful place for people to have their own private suites and to have their family come to see them. So it's really beautiful to have care in this place. Again, if somebody doesn't have Medicaid or MedQuest, there will probably be a room and board fee here, which can be private paid if somebody doesn't have Medicaid or MedQuest.
Thank you so much, Lonnie. We have listened to everyone's feedback, and we've asked in previous talk stories if you would like to enjoy a virtual tour of Pohai Malama. We listened, and we want you to enjoy this very short video, a virtual tour of Pohai Malama.
Welcome to Hawaii Care Choices Pohai Malama, a Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Care Center. This is a state-of-the-art short-term care facility designed to feel like the most beautiful home you've ever been in. A spacious living room to gather your entire ohana together. The meditation room provides a beautiful space overlooking the gardens to find solace in quiet contemplation. Nothing feels more like home than gathering the family for dinner around the TV, which you can do in the family room while the keiki play in the room next door. Each suite is designed for maximum patient and visitor comfort with sleeping areas for guests, private bathroom facilities, and each room even comes with its own private lanai overlooking the lawn and gardens. When you or your loved one are in our care and you need some extra care, there's no place like Pohai Malama. For more information, call us at 808-969-1733 or visit us online at hawaiicarechoices.org.
And here's our mission. So it's all about improving the lives of those we touch, in all ways: support, guidance, compassionate care of body, mind, and spirit. And our areas are all in the colors. So we go from Lapaoehoi Point all the way to South Point Road at the end of Ka'u. And what is so interesting about the Big Island is that we work in tandem with our friends at Kona Hospice as well as North Hawaii Hospice. We have our separate areas and we all work together as one collaborative team. So it's quite beautiful that everybody on the island will get hospice services if they need them or when they need them.
All right, thank you so much, Mahalo Lani, for sharing the Hawaii Care Choices Palliative and Hospice Care Services. We are now going to move to the second portion of our presentation, and we will hear from Lieutenant William Derr, Community Police Officer with Hawaii County Police Department, as he shares his experiences and expertise as well. Aloha and welcome, Lieutenant Derr.
Hi, thank you very much.
Can you please start by sharing how long you've been a police officer and exactly what your position is and what you do?
Sure, I've been in the police department for 19 years, and I primarily worked as a patrol officer, then a sergeant, and currently now I'm the lieutenant of the community policing section for the east side of Hawaii.
Wonderful. We're so happy to have you here. We've noticed that you've hosted a Coffee with a Cop as part of your duties as well. What are some of the common questions that you are asked at these gatherings?
Yeah, it's funny, but I actually, I don't participate in the Coffee with a Cop. The guys under my supervision do, but I can share with you, I get a lot of phone calls, daily. I'll get several, and basically people just want to know, they want advice regarding things like neighborhood disputes. They want to know about temporary restraining orders. They have a case, things like that, that they just want general advice. So I try and do my best. And basically, as a community police officer, I help people navigate the criminal justice system. So when they want to know, what the status of a case is or how it moves through the courts and things like that, I help them navigate that.
That is wonderful. And, we really appreciate that as well. And just being able to talk to a police officer, because sometimes it's really hard, to just ask those basic questions or go through the phone system as well. As a police officer, what has been your experiences with helping families who have a loved one on hospice?
Oh, I have some of the questions. Maybe I can just go into some of them. I really enjoyed the presentation because I'm hearing about the benefits of hospice and how it works, because when somebody is dying with a terminal illness, I mean, obviously we want to make it as easy on everybody as we can. So when you're not enrolled in hospice, what happens as far as a police investigation goes, we're mandated to do certain things. And we classify it as an unattended death. So we have to we get the phone call, somebody's passed away at a house or whatever the case may be. The patrolman is sent and a supervisor has to go as well. When they get to the scene, the home or wherever it is, we have to treat it like it's a crime scene until we can show that it's not, right? Because we never know what we're going to come across. Even if they've been, diagnosed terminally ill and stuff, we don't know that if they're not enrolled in hospice. So we show up and we have to treat it like a crime scene until proven otherwise. So we're going to check for foul play. We're going to look through the house, look in various rooms. We're going to start to interview anybody who is there, that kind of thing. We're obviously going to check the body to make sure that, it appears to be, we're going to check the body basically for any suspicious markings or wounds or anything like that. And in a case when it's a true hospice type situation, it can be very intrusive on the family, and it can add more trauma than is really necessary if people get into hospice, because we have to do these things to make sure. We're going to photograph the body. We're going to physically move it to check to make sure, that there's no suspicious injuries, that kind of stuff. We're going to have to diagram the house. And again, like I said, we're going to have to ask, a ton of questions of everybody there. And a lot of times, emotionally, when somebody passes, they're not equipped to handle all these questions in this intrusive type of investigation that we have to do. we have to make sure that we have positive identification. And normally, the only people that we can accept positive identification from is by a family member. If it's auntie or uncle, that's not good enough. We can't take their word that this is, so-and-so. We have to get a next of kin. And then if we can't do that, then we either have to take their fingerprints and prove who it is that way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so it's like I said, it's very intrusive, more so than needs to be when a person, has been diagnosed terminally ill. Then we have to take the body to the hospital where a pronouncement of death is made by the doctor at the hospital. And then the body is held at the hospital until the final investigation is complete, that the person who passed away, that their principal care physician has signed off on the death report, and whatnot. So it's also, not only is it kind of intrusive, but it's a lengthy process. So we may have that person in the morgue at the hospital for several days to a week before we can release the body to the family so that they can make the funeral arrangements. So that's kind of the process. And I've experienced a lot of death in my career, going to calls where people have died. And through that experience, I realized that there's an easier, better way to do things when somebody's terminally ill. Granted, there is a role for us in death investigations, right? But when we know it's hospice, or think it's hospice, then there's a better way to do it, and that's through you guys. So I've had two experiences with hospice. Being a policeman, I've seen a lot of death, gone to these calls where somebody's passed away, and went through the whole system. But I also knew as a policeman, we would get dispatched and they would say, it's a hospice case. So when they would say it's a hospice case, we did, myself, the supervisor, we didn't have to go to the house, to the location or whatever. We just talked to a nurse over the phone, the hospice nurse, got the information, and that was it. It was a simple phone call, and then we were done. We weren't tying up policemen's time when they could just take care of the phone call and it's done. We weren't traumatizing the family even more so by having to show up and ask the 20 million questions and taking photos and all that. So having that experience, I had a friend who was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. And at that time, I didn't know that much about hospice, except it was a lot easier as far as the police go and less trauma on the family because it just was a phone call and we never left and stuff. So I shared with my friend's family about hospice, right? And I said, we know she's going to pass away. It's terminal. You might want to call hospice and just see what they have to offer, see what it's about, because I explained to them on my end what was going to happen when she passed away. So they said, yeah, we'll do that. So they called hospice, got her enrolled, and when she passed away, like I said, it was a simple phone call to the police department versus a bunch of policemen going to the house, doing the whole 9 yards. But at that time, I really didn't know the ins and outs of hospice. Well, then about 2 years later, another friend of mine was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and his wife was kind of ill-equipped to handle what was going on. So I kind of made it my job to help guide her through this, because her her kids are friends with my kids and all that stuff. So I made the phone call, and you know, the one of the comments that someone made is, if you don't know, call and ask. And that's what I did. And I called hospice and I said, hey, I didn't know what palliative care was versus the regular hospice and stuff. And anyway, the people I talked to were great, and they explained everything to me. So they were able to talk to the doctors, get them to sign off that this my friend could be enrolled in hospice and all that. And anyway, long story short, he ended up going to the Pohahi Malama Care Center, which was so great. I mean, if you're going to pass away, to pass away in an environment like that, it's so peaceful, so soothing, so tranquil, just a nice place. His family could come and visit him, especially his kids, because the hospital was a very kind of sterile environment, not comforting to his children, I'm sure, to be in a room with the curtain separated by another patient and this kind. Where at the Pahi Malama Center, he had his own suite, the kids could come and visit and that stuff. And it made all the difference in the world. And then when I would go visit him, I could ask staff, hey, what about this? What about that? And they were always just so great as far as answering my questions, helping guide me and my friend's wife through, you know, how to make funeral arrangements, who should we be contacting, all that kind of stuff. I mean, they went above and beyond, I'm sure, what their job description says. But it made all the difference in the world. And then again, you know, when he passed away, police didn't have to show up at the Malama, the Pohai Malama Center or the house. You know, it's just a simple phone call to the police department. We record it down and it's documented, and then it's done. There was no intrusiveness, no dragging it out, trying to get paperwork filled out, this kind of stuff. And it was just a really amazing experience. And I just, going through it firsthand with the two different close friends really made me a believer in hospice and what you guys do. And, you know, my suggestion is spread the word. And I'm glad that's why I was so excited to be asked to be, you know, on the program today, was because it's like, let's spread the word, because it's a win-win situation. You know, police don't have to get involved. The family can grieve how they need to grieve and go through that process with people who are experienced with that. You're not going to, you know, the police department, we're here to do a job and then we move on, right? Then we're, you know, down the road taking our next assignment and stuff, where hospice really fills the void, you know, to help people grieve, get through that process. And yeah, so that's kind of my viewpoint, and that's a little bit of an outline of, you know, police response versus hospice response. Because like I said, you know, there's just a lot of different things when police show up that we have to do when somebody passes away. And a lot of times it's really not necessary. And hospice helps, you know, those unnecessary cases for police involvement, that we can just, you know, everybody can begin the grieving process and move on, and not, you know, be waiting days and days and days to get, you know, a doctor to sign a death report. And you know what I mean? It's just a little less, I guess, sensitive sometimes to people's needs.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Derr, and I apologize for my technical difficulties here, but I appreciate you sharing all your stories. There is one question, and then I'll share the comments. A question is an autopsy absolutely required for an unattended death at home, in the home, excuse me?
Not necessarily, depending on, We will, on the report that we send, we will recommend an autopsy. However, the coroner who flies over from Oahu, I think it's like once or twice a week, that does autopsies, they can look and decide, no, I'm not going to do one, it's not needed. Or the principal care physician can intervene and say that they don't want one. But typically, an unattended death where it's not hospice involved, that's a checkbox that's always marked, automatically marked. But then there are exceptions to the rule, like I gave the examples of the coroner who flies over, or the principal care physician. But 9 times out of 10, yes, autopsy happens.
Thank you so much for answering that. We also have a participant who would like to know how they can reach you after the presentation if they have any questions that they can ask you later.
Oh, sure. My office phone number is 961-2350, 961-2350. And then I can put in the comments, the chat comments, I'll put in my email address as well, so you guys can take a look at it.
Okay, that's wonderful. And then I'd just like to share a comment from our clinical director, Helene, who says, oh my goodness, thank you so much for sharing your story and experiences. I am so touched and my heart is so full of love. Thank you so much. We also have some comments. They love the Hawai staff and they are angels walking among us. I know we have some employees that are on this call as well that work at Hawai, so they appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yeah, that place is amazing.
I agree. I know Lonnie can agree with me as well. Lieutenant Derr, based on your experiences with hospice, do you have any advice, any other additional advice to our listeners today?
Just if you have a friend or a family member who is terminally ill, hospice is the way to go. I mean, there's, it just makes things so much better for everybody involved, and I highly encourage it. And if there's anything that you can do to support hospice, anyone who is listening, even if you don't have somebody who who is terminally ill, but you can support hospice, do so, because the first family that got involved with hospice that I was close friends with, the father, he ended up volunteering for 2 years with hospice because it helped him through his grieving process so much. He was able to volunteer and made a big difference.
That is so wonderful, and I so appreciate your expertise and your experiences, and as well as your encouragement to all of our listeners here. We are going to...
And I think that was one of the benefits, though, of hospice for the second family was it took some of that caregiving burden off of them, especially when he was at the Pohai Malama Center.
Yeah.
So it allowed her to focus on taking care of the kids and her children and explaining the process. And again, that was another great reason why you guys were so wonderful, was they helped explain the process to the kids. And then that caregiving part, they assisted with that too, being at the center, and made a big difference.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Derr. Tish, is there anything else that you'd like to share with him?
Not with him, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and I apologize for all the technical difficulties that we are having this morning. But I just would like to let everyone know, if you would like to connect with Hawaii Care Choices, our phone number and email is up on the screen there. And again, if you don't know, please feel free to call us and ask. We have a wonderful team working behind the scenes and on the phone lines as well when you connect. And we do have a short survey that I will like to put up on your screen now. For those of you joining us on Zoom, it is very quick. It should be on your screen. Please make the best selection possible for all 6 questions and then click the submit button below. We would love to get your feedback on our presentation today. And again, your input will allow us to gain a better understanding of how we can better serve our community with presentations like these in the future. And I promise we do listen. We delivered on that Hawai virtual tour. So we do take those. They are anonymous and your answers will not be shared. For those of you on Facebook, please give us a thumbs up and your hearts if you enjoyed this presentation today. And we'd like to thank you for joining us through Facebook Live. Lonnie, while they are doing their surveys, I just had some questions for you. Why don't doctors tell their patients how long they have to live?
Oh, that's such a wonderful question, Tish. So, you know, it's interesting to get into the minds of our doctors. You know, there's so much going on there. But I found that a lot of our community docs, as well as those in the hospital, they actually don't want to be incorrect with their prognosis. And I think they truly believe if they are incorrect in any way, that it will affect their relationship with their patient. So they don't want to be as forthcoming about it. Again, remember I was explaining to you that providing the right care at the right time is really all that we're asking. But oftentimes, you know, the doctors may think, oh, you know, maybe they can't handle this information. What if I'm wrong and it's not 6 months and they continue to live through 2 years, which would be actually fabulous. All of these issues that a doctor may have can totally be overcome by the caregiver or the patient just contacting us, because we can go ahead and take care of that for the patient and family by contacting the doctor for you. So, you know, years ago, we probably have maybe 10% of the people that we served would actually call up and inquire. Now we have anywhere from 60 to 70% of the community just calling in and really taking responsibility for their own healthcare, which is the dream that we have hoped for. And this is really how we want to empower you with the information that we shared with you today, that even if your doctor is reluctant to say, maybe, you know, it's time to contact hospice, you by all means can go ahead and take responsibility for your own health care or that of your loved one and call us. It doesn't cost you anything, and at least you'll get your concerns answered.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lonnie. I just have a second one. What kind of challenges has COVID-19 created for Hawaii Care Choices?
I think the biggest challenge is that we really want to keep our families together, and trying to keep everyone safe during that time, which has been our utmost highest priority, has been challenging, largely because people are at their homes, and you know, we have many mixed families living all together, and just trying to keep the patients safe while our staff comes in to serve them, and keeping everybody safe as well has been quite difficult. And so we are very strict on following our protocols of masking up and, you know, having all of those who are able to be vaccinated to get vaccinated or tested, and, you know, come in with all of the proper protective equipment that is necessary to keep our staff safe while serving our patients. So it has been challenging, but not impossible and unsurmountable. It is definitely taking us to the edge many times, but here we are as we blissfully watch our infection numbers go down, and really hope that when we come through this, we'll all be the stronger for it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you again, everyone who did our exit survey. I'm going to go ahead and end that right now. Mahalo for everyone that joined. And if you feel that you've benefited from this presentation, please let your friends and family know that they're welcome to join us on the 10th of every month at 10 a.m. Just RSVP to myself for the Zoom link, or tune into our Facebook Live the 10th of every month at 10 a.m. Again, mahalo for joining us today. We'll see you next month. Thank you so much, Lonnie and Lieutenant Derr, for sharing your insights and your personal stories as well. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Healthcare Insider. Aloha.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you again. Aloha.
Thank you.